Unit 1, Chapter 3, Human Development. 60 years ago, Rekha was born in a family of small farmers in Uttarakhand. She helped her mother in household chores, while her brothers went to school. She did not receive any education. She was dependent on her in-laws after she was widowed immediately after marriage. She could not be economically independent and faced neglect. Her brother helped her to migrate to Delhi. For the first time, she traveled by bus and train and was exposed to large city like Delhi. After a while, the same city which attracted her with buildings, roads, avenues and facilities and amenities disillusioned her. With great familiarity of the city, she could comprehend the paradoxes. The juggi and the slum clusters, traffic jams, congestion, crimes, poverty, small children begging on the traffic lights, people sleeping on footpaths, polluted water and air revealed another face of the development. She used to think whether the development and underdevelopment coexist, whether development help some segments of the population more than the other. Does development create haves and have-nots? Let us examine these paradoxes and try to understand the phenomena. Of all the paradoxes of our times mentioned in the story, development is the most significant one. Development of a region, individual, brought about in a short span of time leads to poverty and malnutrition for many, along with the large-scale ecological degradation. Is development class-based? Apparently, it is believed that development is freedom, which is often associated with modernization, leisure, comfort, and affluence. In the present context, computerization, industrialization, efficient transport and communication network, large educational systems, advanced and modern medical facilities, safety and security of individuals, etc., are considered as symbols of development. Every individual, community, and the government measures its performance over levels of development in relation to the availability and access to some of these things. But this may be partial and one-sided view of development. It is often called as a Western or Eurocentric view of development. For a post-colonial country like India, colonization, marginalization, social discrimination, and regional disparity, etc., show the other face of the development. Thus, for India, development is a mixed bag of opportunities as well as a neglect and deprivations. There are a few areas like metropolitan centers and other developed enclaves that have all modern facilities available to a small section of its population. At the other extreme of it, there are large rural areas and the slums in the urban areas that do not have any basic amenities like potable water, education, and health infrastructure available to majority of this population. The situation is more alarming if one looks at the distribution of development opportunities among different sections of our society. It is well established fact that majority of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, landless agricultural laborers, poor farmers and slum dwellers, etc. are the most marginalized lot. A large segment of female population is the worst sufferer amongst all. It is also equally true that the relative as well as the absolute conditions of majority of these marginalized sections have worsened with the development happening over the years. Consequently, vast majority of people are compelled to live under abject poverty and subhuman conditions. There is yet another interrelated aspect of development that has direct bearing on the deteriorating human conditions. It pertains to the environmental pollution leading to ecological crisis. Air, soil, water and noise pollutions have not only led to the tragedy of commons, but these have also threatened the existence of our society. Consequently, the poor are being subjected to three interrelated processes of declining capabilities, that is, social capabilities, environmental capabilities, and personal capabilities. Social capabilities due to displacement and weakening social ties, that is, social capital. Environmental capabilities due to pollution, and personal capabilities due to increased incidence of disease and accidents. This in turn has adverse effects on their quality of life and human development. Based on the above experiences, it can be said that the present development has not been able to address the issue of social justice, regional imbalance, and environmental degradation. On the contrary, it is being widely considered as the prime cause of the social distributive injustice, a deterioration in the quality of life and human development, ecological crisis, and social unrest. Does development create, reinforce, and perpetuate these crises? Thus, it was thought to take up human development as a separate issue against the prevalent Western views of development, which considers development as a remedy to all the ills, including human development, regional disparity, and environmental crisis. Concerted efforts were made to look at development critically at various times in the past, but most systemic efforts towards this was the publication of first Human Development Report by the UNDP, that is United Nations Development Programme, in 1990. Since then, this organization has been bringing out World Human Development Report every year. This report does not only define human development, make amendments, and change its indicators, but also ranks all the countries of the world based on the calculated scores. According to the Human Development Report 1993, progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of people are seen as a minimum conditions for human development. Moreover, it also mentioned that the development must be woven around people, not people around the development, as was the case previously. What is human development? Human development is a process of enlarging the range of people's choice, increasing their opportunities for education, healthcare, income, and empowering and covering the full range of human choices for a sound physical environment to economic, social, and political freedom. Thus, enlarging the range of people's choices is the most significant aspect of human development. People's choices may involve a host of other issues, but living a long and healthy life, to be educated and have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living, including political freedom, guaranteed human rights, and personal self respect, etc., are considered some of the non negotiable aspects of the human development. You have already studied the concept, indicators, and approaches to human development and methods of calculating the index in your book, Fundamentals of Human Geography. In this chapter, let us try to understand the applicability of these concepts and indicators to India. Human development in India. India, with a population of over 1.20 billion, is ranked 131 among 188 countries of the world in terms of Human Development Index, that is HDI. With a composite HDI value of 0.624, India finds herself grouped with countries showing medium human development according to the UNDP report 2016. Table 3.1 depicts that Human Development Index, that is HDI, value of India and some other countries, where India ranks 131 and Norway ranks 1 and Germany ranks 4. Low scores in the HDI is a matter of serious concern, but some reservations have been expressed about the approach as well as indicators selected to calculate the index values and ranking of the states or countries. Lack of sensitivity to the historical factors like colonization, imperialization, and non-imperialism, social cultural factors like human rights violation, social discrimination on the basis of race, religion, gender, caste, social problems like crimes, terrorism, war, and political factors like nature of the state, forms of government, democracy or dictatorship, level of empowerment are some factors that are very crucial in determining the nature of a human development. These aspects have special significance in case of India and many other developing countries. Using the indicators selected by the UNDP, the Planning Commission of India also prepared the Human Development Report for India. It uses states and union territories as the unit of analysis. Subsequently, each state government also started preparing the state level Human Development Report using districts as the unit of analysis. Although the final HDI by the Planning Commission of India has been calculated by taking the three indicators as discussed in the book entitled Fundamentals of Human Geography, yet this rich resource space and access to these resources by all, particularly the poor, downtrodden, and the marginalized, is the key to productivity, well-being, and human development. Gross National Product, that is GNP, and its per capita availability are taken as a measure to assess the resource base or endowment of any country. Economic attainment and the well-being of individuals depends on economic growth, employment opportunities, and access to assets. Over the years, the per capita income and consumption expenditure in India has increased. As a result, there has been a consistent decline in the proportions of population living below the poverty line. The percentage of persons below the poverty line in 2011 and 12 has been estimated as a 25.7% in rural areas and 13.7% in urban areas and 21.9% for the country as a whole. The data of poverty for the states show that there are states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha, Dadra Nagar Haveli, which have recorded more than 30% of their population living below the poverty line. Other states like Gujarat, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttarakhand, and West Bengal have recorded between 10 to 20% of their population below poverty line. Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Punjab, Sikkim, Pondicherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the Daman and Diu, Lakshadweep have below 10% of their population living below poverty line. Poverty is a state of deprivation. In absolute terms, it reflects the inability of an individual to satisfy certain basic needs for a sustained and healthy and reasonably productive living. The gross domestic product of the country does not fully reflect the quality of life of a country. There are other factors like housing, access to public transport, air quality, and access to drinking water, which also determines the standard of living. Jobless growth and rampant unemployment are some of the important reasons for higher incidence of poverty in India. The states which have more than 30% of their population below poverty lines are Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Bihar, MP, Odisha, and in northeast states like Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Dadra, and Nagar Haveli. 10 to 20% below poverty line is seen in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, West Bengal, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, and Uttar Pradesh, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Tripura in the northeast. And less than 10% below the poverty line is seen in Delhi, Goa, Kerala, AP, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Sikkim, Pondicherry, and Andaman and Nicobar. The table 3.2 shows poverty in India according to 2011 and 2012 census. Indicators of healthy life. Life free from illness and ailments and living a reasonably long lifespan are indicative of healthy life. Availability of pre and postnatal healthcare facilities in order to reduce infant mortality and post-delivery deaths among mothers. Old age healthcare, adequate nutrition, and safety of individuals are some important measures of healthy and reasonably long life. Swachh Bharat Mission. The release of toxic and non-biodegradable waste from industries and urban sewages and open defecation etc. have created many health hazards. The Government of India have initiated many steps to address these problems and the Swachh Bharat Mission is one of them. A healthy mind lives in a healthy body, and for healthy body, clean environment, particularly clean air, water, noise-free ambience, and hygienic surroundings are prerequisites. Municipal waste, industrial effluents, and pollutants generated by transport, etc., are major source of pollution in urban areas. Open defecation in rural areas and in urban slums are major source of pollution. The Government of India, with its flagship program Swachh Bharat Mission (SBM), aims at a pollution-free environment. Its objectives are making India open defecation-free and achieving 100% scientific management of municipal solid waste, constructions of individual household latrines (IHHL), community toilet seats (that is CTA seats), and public toilet seats (that is PT seats). Making provisions for the supply of clean energy fuel (LPG) to all households in rural India to reduce domestic pollution. Providing potable drinking water to every household to control the spread of waterborne diseases, and promoting the use of non-conventional energy resources like wind and solar energy. Table 3.3 indicates India literacy rate according to 2011 census. Of all the states, Kerala is in the first place in total literacy rate and also in a female literacy, followed by Tripura, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, and Maharashtra in total literacy rate. In female literacy rate, Kerala, Mizoram, Tripura, Goa, and Nagaland were in the top 5. It also indicated that India has a total literacy rate of 74.04% and female literacy rate is a 65.46%. of the total literacy rate. India has done reasonably well in some of the health indicators like decline in a death rate from 25.1 per thousand in 1951 to 6.5 per thousand in 2015, and infant mortality rate from 148 per thousand to 37 during the same period. Similarly, it also succeeded in increasing life expectancy at birth from 37.1 year to 66.9 years for males and 36.2 to 70 years for females from 1951 to 2015. Though these are great achievements, a lot needs to be done. Similarly, it has also done reasonably well in bringing down birth rate from 40.8 to 20.8 during the same years, but it still is much higher than the many developed countries. The situation is more alarming when seen in the context of gender-specific and rural and urban health indicators. India has recorded declining female sex ratio. The findings of 2011 census of India are very disturbing, particularly in case of a child sex ratio in the age groups of 0 to 6 years. The other significant feature of a report report are, with the exceptions of Kerala, the child sex ratio has declined in all states, and it is also the most alarming in the developed states of Haryana and Punjab, where it is below 850 female children per thousand male children. What factors are responsible for it? Is it social attitude or scientific methods of sex determination? Indicators of social empowerment. Development is freedom. Freedom from hunger, poverty, servitude, bondage, ignorance, illiteracy, and any other forms of domination is the key to human development. Freedom is a real sense of the term is possible only with the empowerment and participation of people in the exercise of their capabilities and choices in the society. Access to knowledge about the society and environment are fundamentals to freedom. Literacy is the beginning of access to such a world of knowledge and freedom. Table 3.3 showing the percentage of literates in India reveals some interesting features. Overall literacy in India is approximately 74.04%, that according to 2011 census, while female literacy is 65.46%. Total literacy as well as female literacy is higher than the national average in most of the states from South India. There are wide regional disparities in literacy rate across the states of India. There is a state like Bihar which has a very low 63.82% literacy, and there are states like Kerala and Mizoram which have literacy rates of 93.91 and 91.58% respectively. Apart from the spatial variation, percentage of illiterates in the rural areas and among the marginalized sections of our society such as females, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, agricultural laborers, etc. is very low. It is worth mentioning here that though there has been an improvement in the percentage of literates among the marginalized sections, yet the gap between the richest and the marginalized sections of the population has increased over the years. Human Development Index in India. In the backdrop of the above mentioned important indicators of a planning commission calculated the Human Development Index by taking states and union territories as a unit of analysis. India has been placed among the countries showing medium human development. What is the rank of India amongst the 188 countries of the world? It is 131. As indicated in table 3.4, Kerala with the composite index value of 0.790 is placed at the top rank, followed by Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Goa and Punjab. As expected, states like Bihar, Odisha and Chhattisgarh are at the bottom amongst 23 major states in India. There are several socio-political, economic and historical reasons for such a state of affairs. Kerala is able to record the highest value in the HDI largely due to its impressive performance in achieving near 100% literacy. In a different scenario, the states like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Assam and Uttar Pradesh have very low literacy. States showing higher total literacy rates have less gaps between the male and female literacy rates. Apart from the educational attainment, the levels of economic development too place significant impacts on HDI. Economically developed states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Punjab and Haryana have higher values of HDI as compared to states like Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Regional distortions and social disparities which developed during the colonial period continue to play an important role in Indian economy, polity and society. The Government of India has made concerted efforts to institutionalize the balanced development with its main focus on social distributive justice through planned development. It has made significant achievements in most of the fields, but these are still below the desired level. Population, environment and development. Development in general and human development in particular is a complex concept used in social sciences. It is a complex because for ages it was thought that the development is a substantive concept, and once it is achieved it will address all the socio-cultural and environmental ills of the society. Though development has brought the significant improvement in the quality of life in more than one way, but increasing regional disparities, social inequalities, discrimination, deprivations, displacement of the people, abuse of human rights and undermined human values and environmental degradation have also increased. Considering the gravity and sensitivity of the issues involved, the UNDP in its Human Development Report 1993 tried to amend some of the implicit biases and prejudices which were entrenched in the concept of development. People's participation and the security were the major issues in the Human Development Report of 1993. It also emphasized on progressive democratization and increasing empowerment of the people as minimum conditions for human development. The report recognized greater constructive role of civil societies in bringing about a peace and human development. The civil society should work for building up opinion for reduction in the military expenditure, demobilization of armed forces, transition from defense to production of basic goods and services, and particularly disarmament and a reduction in the nuclear warheads by the developed countries. In a nuclearized world, peace and well being are major global concerns. At the other extreme of this approach lie the view expressed by the neo-Malthusians, environmentalists, and radical ecologists. They believe that for a happy, peaceful social life, proper balance between population and resources is a necessary condition. According to these thinkers, the gap between the resource and population that widened after 18th century. There have been marginal expansion in the resource of world in the last 300 years, but there has been phenomenal growth in the human population. Development has only contributed in increasing the multiple uses of limited resources of the world, while there has been enormous increase in the demand for these resources. Therefore, the prime task before any development activity is to maintain parity between the population and resources. Scholars like Sir Robert Malthus was the first one to voice his concern about the growing scarcity of resources as compared to the human population. Apparently, this argument looks logical and convincing, but a critical look will reveal certain intrinsic flaws, such as resources are not a neutral category. It is not the availability of resources that is as important as their social distribution. Resources everywhere are unevenly distributed. Rich countries and people have access to large resource baskets while the poor find their resource shrinking. Moreover, unending pursuit for the control of more and more resources by the powerful and use of a same for exhibiting one prowess is the prime cause of conflict as well as the apparent contradictions between population, resource, and development. Indian culture and civilization have been very sensitive to the issue of population, resource, and development for a long time. It would not be incorrect to say that the ancient scriptures were essentially concerned about the balance and harmony among the elements of nature. Mahatma Gandhi in the recent times advocated the reinforcement of harmony and balance between the two. He was quite apprehensive about the ongoing development, particularly the way industrialization has institutionalized the laws of morality, spirituality, self reliance, non violence, and mutual cooperation and environment. In his opinion, austerity for individual, trusteeship of social wealth, and non violence are the key to attain higher goals in the life of an individual as well as that of a nation. His views were also re echoed in the Club of Rome report, Limits to Growth, 1972. Schumacher's book Small is Beautiful in 1974. Brundtland Commission's report Our Common Future 1987, and finally in the Agenda 21 report of the Rio Conference 1993. Thank you.